Men have always understood that they had to get it out the mud. Men have always understood that they have to. Men have always understood that they have to get it out the mud, and that creates a certain amount of resilience. Scribe, let's talk about it.
Okay, so I have this theory that men come into the world with little to no self-worth. Like, they're pretty much told, like, you don't matter. And women come into the world and they're told, like, you are a princess, like, you deserve the world, etc. Right? And I feel like we have this disconnect today with dating where men now have, like, so much more self-worth because they had to, like, grow it from birth. And women, as they go on in the world, lose more and more of their self-worth. And I feel like that's why, like, men can date women and kind of, like, detach from the results. Like, they can find someone and be like, oh my god, she's great, and then be like, oh, but I don't really like this, or like, I don't really think that she's wife material, like this and that, and then they're able to let it go. As we're women, like, I feel like every time we have a man and he leaves, like, we lose more and more self-worth. And I feel like we're told, like, oh my god, like, you are a queen, like, you deserve the world. And then, like, as you live, you realize, like, you don't always deserve the world. Like, you don't always get the world, you know? But men have, like, grown up knowing that they're not gonna get the world, like, it's not gonna be handed to them. And so I feel like they end up having so much more, like, self-worth and self-respect than women as we get older and we start, like, getting into relationships and dating. And men are so much better, in my opinion, at, like, letting people go and being like, oh, well, like, I don't need you, like, I have self-worth with or without you. Where women are like, I feel like I've lost all my self-worth and you're the only thing that makes me feel like I have some. And so it's a lot harder for us to, like, let go.
Close on a couple of things, but mainly wrong. Men have resilience. That's not the same thing as self-worth. That's not the same thing as we just aren't affected when things don't work out. Now, I think the important thing to consider here is, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. She's talking about a particular subset of men, the ones that get the attention, the ones that get, you know, a plethora of women around them. Yeah, at that point, you're easily going to say this, not that, that, not this. But for the most part, yeah, men understand that because they had to get it out the mud, because no one was going to come and rescue them, that if they didn't work for something, they were never going to get that. Now you take that and you put it further. Those men that have finally made something of themselves in order to get your attention, that top 20, that top 10%, yeah, they can discard. They can say, no, not this. I'm going to get the things I want. So what we see a lot of is when women are looking and saying at a certain group of men, that is all they see. There was a couple of surveys and studies done that women don't, if they're not attracted to you, you kind of like an NPC, you kind of like a background character. You don't really exist, right? Until you were something we interact with, I don't really think about you. I'm focused on the goal, what I want, and then that is the entire world. When you talk to women and you ask them, you see on some of these TikToks, some of these videos, some of these things on Instagram, when you ask them what percent of the world do you think makes this amount of money? What percent of the world do you think is over 6 feet? And they give you outrageous numbers, outrageous stats, because in their world, all they do is see people that are 6 feet. All they do is see people that are high six figures. So everyone else is just kind of there, kind of around. I don't really realize that you have issues and problems and you exist. So from what she said, we get what she's trying to mean at. Men have to get it out the mud. You have to do the work because no one's going to come to save you. No one hands you anything. When men age, when you're a toddler, you're showered with love and affection right up until a certain age. Now we're told, hey, yeah, stop crying, stop doing this, move like this. You got to be a man. You went from just a couple of weeks ago, to being coddled and feeling like the center of the universe to now, you're just now another cog in a machine, and we're training you to be a cog because we got to train you, prepare you for life, because life isn't like this. Life is not like you in your mother's arms being watched over by your father. Real life isn't like that. It's harder, it's tougher, it's more cruel for you. So you develop a bit of callousness, you develop a thicker skin. And as you age, as you go through life and you deal with rejection, you deal with women looking and categorizing you, and you disappearing somewhere into the background, becoming an NPC, for a good part of your life until you get a little main character syndrome and you get out there and people start acknowledging you. Maybe you won that genetic lottery. Maybe you're tall. Maybe you're handsome. Now you start doing the work and all of a sudden you join them in the clouds. Yeah, you're going to tell them, yeah, that's not what I want. Moving on. Conversely, when women are coming up, they're often told right early on, you're a princess. You can't do anything wrong. You're spoiled. That becomes what you actually go into the wide world with. This idea that you're not wrong, that you're infallible. And if something is wrong, someone will come correct it for you. All you have to do is make enough noise or pout in the right direction. We train you how to do this from very early on. So it's no mystery, no wonder why as you get older, you still have the same mentality. But the world doesn't care. The universe doesn't care. When you get out there, after a certain point, they're going to look and say, it's all on merit now. When you are, in this case, cursed with beauty, you're going to get to a certain age where that carries you further, and then it doesn't. Then the world is looking and you say, I've always been exacting. You were just protected and shielded with your beauty. But here I am here now to reap what you've sowed. Now any interactions you get, you're not getting the benefit of the doubt. You're not getting the benefit of the beauty. Now when things don't work out when you thought and you were told it was supposed to, now it seems like it's a hurt. It's a dig against you. We're simply at an inflection point. Men had to deal with that very early on in their life. Now, the ones that have made it, and ones that have actually got out the mud, they're spoiled for choice. And a lot of them are just saying, if you don't meet my exacting standards now, then I really don't care. I really don't want to hear it. What we're just witnessing right now is that we have more women on the 30 plus side while the internet is around. When we pioneered the internet, it was still new. Even when our aunties and uncles were getting on it, they weren't having these conversations. They are now. It's almost like as if we're all at Thanksgiving together and everyone's coming and regaling everyone with their stories, their failures, of what doesn't work, what's wrong with the world. There's a large part of us that have finally shifted into this age, into this timeline where we have the internet available to tell the stories and telling you, yeah, that's why she's not with someone. That's why dating is difficult. You hear it all the time. Even when men complain about it, yeah, but the ones that are actually spoiled for choice now, those men, they're not saying the same thing because they've done it. They've sucked it up already. Now, I mean, pun intended, you have to suck some things up in order to get the things that you want now. No one prepared you for it, and we can't even apologize for it because while we were kind of suffering and laboring under it, you took advantage. You had fun, right? You saw us trying to struggle to make it something to impress you. Your eyes were elsewhere. This is just all it is. Now it affects your self-worth. For the first time in your lives, you being called a princess and queen, you're realizing that, yeah, only in my father's house is that true. You just thought your father owned most of the world. When you actually get exposed to it, you realize, no, whoa, I'm just like the guys before. I've got to get it out the mud now. The problem is you may not have that work ethic. You may not have that resilience already built up. We had years to hone it. You don't have the same type of time. And for that's unfortunate. But listen, if you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. You see other videos on your screen. Check those out. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos, of course. And if you listen to my voice now, you have not subscribed, I think you should. You're just trying to build something dope. I'll see you in the next one.